one comic book community. Comic creators and comic fans, tonight you are seen, heard, recognized, because comics are for everyone. It's 8 p.m. Eastern, live from Miami, Florida, broadcasting around the world. This is the Not Near Mint Show. Welcome to Not Near Mint. It is the 162nd episode of this here show. It's been 2 years since we've come back. We've been doing this for a month now. We're going to be having Lady Fantastic and Miracleman and Tacoma Comics joining us in just a few minutes, but we're just going to dive right into the top 10 comics that are put out by CLZ and CovrPrice. Now, you might see other people doing the regular CovrPrice top 10, where it's just whatever they post on the website. I do things a little bit differently here. So the CovrPrice, if you have it linked with your CLZ and you hit the update values feature, I have 26,000 comics here, so you get to see what the top 5 are and the bottom 5 are. The top 5 are to let you know that one person during the course of a week might have spent too much, but the bottom 5 are the ones that one person has spent a very low amount of money to get it. So let's start with the top 10. So here we go. This is the top 10 for the week of October the 18th, 2024. And with this, the best part about it, like I can say, is you're going to be getting a lot of good books this week. So here we're going to start with number 10. Number 10 is Fright number 3. This is the first appearance of Freddy Krueger in comics. This came out in 1988. It's running at about $80 right now, if you could probably find it online. Some people are charging upwards of $300, but somebody this week got it for $80. It's now down $107. Next up, we have number 9. This is Uncanny X-Men number 84. This is the first appearance of Sunfire. This came out in 1989. In a VF, this would go for, somebody got it for $181 this week. I still think that even in a VF that might be a bit high, but it's down $68 this week. Next up, we have number 8. This is the special Marvel edition. First appearance is Shang-Chi. This came out in 1973, and in about a 7.0 or a fine, very fine, goes for about $73, or at least somebody picked that up this week, down $51. Next up, and this is surprising because it's one of my favorite characters, Albedo number 2, stupid expensive, but apparently this week somebody picked it up for $47. This issue came out in 1987 in a VF. You could get it for about $47, but it's down $50. Normally you can't find this under $100. Now, next up is number 6. This is another down book, and it came out in 2011. This is Ultimate Fallout number 4, and we know that our buddy here, Comics on the Mind, he had to sell this a while back. He made a good amount of money, and he could get it back for less than maybe $200 than he sold it for. This came out in 2011 in a near mint. You can get it for $310, or else somebody did this week. It is down $43 this week. Those are the bottom 5. Now here's the top 5. So we're going to, I never wound up putting those things up. There we go. All right, so number 5, one of these days I'll get things right, is the first appearance of Bizarro in Superboy number 68. This is in a VG minus and came out in 1958. Somebody this week paid $441. It is up $56. Next up, we have Green Lantern number 3. There's really nothing that important other than the fact that it is from 1960 in a VG fine 5.0. Somebody paid $205, up $91 this week. So maybe you can find a deal, or maybe somebody paid a little too much. Next up, we have number 3. This is Action Comics number 254. This is the first appearance of Adult Bizarro. This came out a year later than the Superboy 68. Came out in 1959 in a VG minus. Somebody paid this week $269. It is up $110. We haven't heard any news about Superman, whether or not they're going to be doing any villains like his classics, Bizarro, uh, maybe Brainiac. It would be nice for him to fight a supervillain, but people are buying up Bizarro this week. Next up, we have number 2, Fantastic Four Annual number 2. This is the origin of Doctor Doom. And this book this week, somebody paid a grand total of $408. This came out in 1964 in a 5.0, 5.5. You could probably get it maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but up $123 from the average from one sale. Finally, number 1, we have Green Lantern number 76, because that new TV show will be premiering sometime maybe next year or 2026. And if you can't afford yourself a Showcase number 26 or a 22 or a Green Lantern one, you get this. This is when Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams started on the title. This is where many people say the Silver Age began. This came out in 1970 in a fine, very fine. You could get this probably for a lot less than the $480 somebody paid this week. It is up $276. This is why we do this top 10 list, to show you that sometimes people are overpaying for things, and other times when the spotlight, the real spotlight, the people that are the legitimate top 10s, the Comic Toms of the world, those people look at those top 10 books, they go buying like crazy, and then after about 6 weeks to 6 months, that eye of Sauron of top 10 books shines elsewhere, and eventually they can get it for less. So it looks like we have Tacoma back and Miracleman, so let's join them to the show and say hi to everybody that's watching.
What's up, everybody?
There. Hello,
hey,
hello.
Hey. Oh, I said Silver Age, didn't I, instead of Bronze Age?
You did. But
this is what happens when you're preparing for the show really fast.
It's live, and you know what? We make mistakes. It happens. It was obviously just a slip of the tongue.
I do it all the time.
While you were going through those top 5, my dog nearly killed an election worker. So it's been a busy 2 minutes.
Nice.
Lordy, how does that happen?
Because somebody knocked on the door. My younger son opened it up, and the dogs don't have a lot of a brain power that you want most of your dogs to have. And so even though the guy was a liberal and I was voting for his candidate, like, he almost died. So we would have lost his vote anyway. So.
Well, don't feel so bad, because earlier today, you might have seen those 3 boxes that I have behind me. Those all came from one person, buddy named Bill. He's on Twitter. He's been sending me box after box after box. It's awesome, of war comics. And they're from the 50s all the way up until Garth Ennis stuff. So that's some of the stuff that I have to show tonight. And thanks for the Instagram there. One day I will probably start posting a lot sooner than later, because let's face it, Twitter this week has blocked the block feature. So now everybody can see your stuff and make cyberbullying that much easier. So after the election, I'm out of there. Let that dumpster fire rot. Hey, Brian.
Hey, totally unrelated, but I just have to say real quick, Tacoma, I thought you were going to get the large coffee. I see you went with the small instead.
So my machine only makes up to 12 ounces. So this is the largest, unless I made a pot, which, in the mornings is fine. But I had a half day today because we had conferences last night. So got home 12 o'clock, only did like 3 hours of teaching, whatever. Tried to take a nap. Couldn't take a nap. Wasn't tired at all. Now I'm exhausted. I need the coffee. I just don't get it.
It might have been the camera angle, but the mug looked like it, eclipsed your face at first when you.
No, it's a pretty large mug.
Okay, all right.
I'm almost half expecting to see Kobayashi at the bottom of that cup.
Well, if you look closely, it's one of the better Starbucks designs.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah.
Corporate shills, you know how we roll.
Right on.
We are. So, did anybody pick up any books this week? Whether it's new, old, anything that you wanted to show, anything to talk about?
I might have some stuff here.
I got a couple of things.
Well, I just did my top 10, so I think I've already expended my breath. So who wants to start first before the lady gets here?
Your show, your choice, man.
Then you started talking first. You.
All right. Well, let's see. How about no, I'll do that later. Okay. Boom. I did post some of this on the IG earlier. And I'm not a big Deadpool fan. I thought the movie was just silly garbage, but I understand people like the character. I understand people like that Rob guy. But I do like these covers, and I was super psyched to get these books from 2010 in newsstands.
Nice.
So we got the Merc with the Mouth doing the Day of the
Oh,
Dead.
wow.
Got the Merc with the Mouth doing the Pretty Woman. And like I said, I wouldn't have bothered to get these if it wasn't for the fact that they were 29 or 2010 newsstands. I just thought that was really
Yeah,
cool.
that's brilliant.
Yeah. Nice
I
pickup.
and that's the new guy that works at, or I don't know if it's the new guy or if it's the new system at Half Price Books, but I'm rarely getting deals anymore or like missed books unless it's a newsstand. He doesn't seem to have the ability to distinguish because they just scan the books and there's an app that tells them what price to put it at. So it's not even the guy that works there. I love this. This was actually my favorite though. It's Mrs. Robinson one here. That
Nice.
has the really late Marvel. This is like the last type of newsstand label they did. If you see this, see how it says Marvel Knights? They started just printing the wrong fucking thing like all the time. It's like this is not a Marvel Knights book, but
there's a
whatever.
book where it's X-Men, but it has She-Hulk on it instead.
Exactly. But then I found a book that I really wanted. They did have this one priced at $40, which is in pretty decent condition. I don't think there's color breaking ticks. There's a couple of spine creases, but this also was a newsstand. And I've been trying to collect this series, Comic Book Guy, the comic book. It's a 5-issue limited series from Boingo, all about the comic book guy. So I had issue 2 already. So this was just something I have. I'm still missing issue 3, but I also got issue 4 and it goddamn ring light. I've only been doing YouTube for like 10 years. I still don't know how to do this damn shit. There you go.
That looks great.
And 5, and if anybody needs a copy of 5, I do have a direct edition copy of 5 now that's an extra, because if I've got a direct in a newsstand and it's a 2009 book, I'll definitely keep the newsstand. Found just some random Simpsons, but they were newsstands. I collect these when I find them for not ridiculous prices. Simpsons Summer Shindig #5. They produce these summer shindigs once a year. I don't know if they did that for the whole run of Simpsons or just for a while. Then I found something really cool. These were all in clearance. These were 50 cents each. And unless somebody wants them, I'll be glad to sell them cheap. I just said how much they were. These were $50 each. But I was just going to give them to the librarian at work, man, or the Spanish teacher.
Oh, that's great.
Oh,
that's great.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
So, like,
no hologram. Oh, wow.
No hologram, but some of them, yeah, it doesn't quite hologramize, but it does have the die cut.
Yeah, okay. All right. It's a square bound too, huh?
Yeah, so I don't know if they just put more stories in here or
it's got to be more. Yeah, that was
wrote larger, but they are all square bound. Yeah, I thought that was Lanterna Verde. I love that. Reinos de los Superman. Yeah, these are all die cut. These 3.
Is that Spanish or is that? Okay, no, that's Spanish.
That's Spanish. Mañana.
El Hombre. El Hombre Acero. So I thought that was pretty darn cool.
Those are great. It's not a foil either, is it?
No, it's it's foil adjacent.
Foil like,
if somebody was like, curious. Oh my God, I collect Spanish edition Superman, I'd be like, great, here you go. But if not, I'll give them to the Spanish teacher or the librarian and just be like, hey, because I've got 4 short boxes of books in the school library that I've donated. Just like, hey, here's X-Men like 266 in a 2.1.
Right.
And, so I've just been filling them up for a while there. So there you go. That's my first chunk. Plenty more to come.
All right, then Miracleman, you want to take next shot?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll show a couple of things. So I actually got a Kickstarter that I backed all the way back in April finally came in. It took 2 weeks because I moved. It took 2 weeks for them to forward it.
Or you moved again.
Yeah, so it's frustrating. But I finally got it, and I can't show you half of the books.
One day you should just put some blue tape over the nipples or the tentacles or whatever
one day.
have you.
But it was a Cave Woman Kickstarter, and I got they did
wow.
they did yeah, right?
That's like the Milo Manara Women of X-Men, right?
It's kind of like I have that one too, but this is Bud Root. These are the women that he's publishing under Emerald Entertainment right now. That's Empress Luxura, I believe, from Vampirotica, if I remember right. That's Cave Woman right there. I'm not sure about the other two. But I got that. That was the book. That was a Kickstarter. He did the cover, and there was like 3 different stories in with different creative teams. But it was a Kickstarter, so they had some cool stuff you could back. Here is a limited to 100 ash can of the book.
Oh wow!
Yeah, 100. Right, that's and then you could buy 2. They had these 2 different 5-packs. One 5-pack was old issues with either Devin Massey or Bud Root, the two principal artists on Cave Woman. Back issues, just random, and the other one was a 5-pack of back issues of random artists. So like guest artists that came in. This is a Bud Root one. That's Cave Woman, the 1-shot special. And apparently Frankie is really into her, because here is Bud's Beauties and Beasts #1. That's another Bud Root cover. Ah,
could use a little tape.
A little. That's no. There's nothing revealing. That's covered. Look.
Okay.
Look. Let me get it really close to the camera. Look, YouTube.
Yeah,
it's
people
covered.
want to see that.
It's covered. YouTube. Eat shit. Here is. I don't even know. This is a Mario Gully, Sisters of the Arena #2. Look at that one.
Ooh.
Now look, half of Cave Woman books are, they're like the worst of eros, right? It's just one thinly veiled reason after another to get her in increasingly undressed fashion. I'll give you that. The other half of Cave Woman books actually are pretty good. Like if you see Cave Woman Rain, any of the books from Basement, but none of the Devin Massey stuff. Nothing. No offense to Devin Massey, but all he does is he draws reasons to rip her clothes off. Yeah. This is a Connie Valentina variant, Sisters of the Arena, book #1. I am not familiar with Connie Valentina's work, but I feel like I want to be more familiar with Connie Valentina's work.
I can see why.
Yeah, right. So that was the Kickstarter there, and like I said, I got another pile that I can't show you because I'm not getting us pulled off of YouTube again. Okay, there's no tentacle monsters on those, but I got something else to show real quick.
Hey, remember when they pulled us down that one night? I wrote back saying that this is just art, and they reinstated it.
I know, it was amazing.
Nice.
I didn't believe it. I'm going to show you guys 4 books that I got in the last 2 years. So my local comic shop got a collection in, and the guy was a big fan of a fella by the name of Dave Stevens.
Oh.
And I got these
popular artists these days.
A rather popular artist, a resurgence of popularity. And I got these books here, and I'm going to show them to you real quick. Check this out. This is the hardcover slip. Look how it's so big. The hardcover slipcase edition of the Rocketeers, the deluxe, the complete adventures, the original Rocketeer story. Look at this. Look at this beautiful book. Look at that.
Damn.
Look at that. It is Rocketeer gorgeous. Okay. IDW did this one. It's a gorgeous reprint. And here's the thing. I have now almost every iteration of Rocketeer ever except for the artist's edition. Okay. That's it. It's the only one I don't have. Because here's a couple more. And on top of that, I also have, that one's going to be the last one I show you. On top of that, I have these that I got from that same collection.
Oh, wow.
Dave Stevens Covers and Stories.
I need that, especially that one for Comic Magazine.
It is some gorgeous stuff. You know, there's his King Kong cover. There's some stuff in here I've never even seen. This is an unpublished Catwoman. Imagine how much that book would go for.
He's done like that one Catwoman, but it wasn't a cover. It was in a Who's Who.
Right.
Ooh.
So this was a beautiful book. A lot of stuff I had never seen before. This one's even better. Dave Stevens Complete Sketches and Studies. Hey, great legend. This one is
Simon.
This one's great. This is a beautiful book. It's just art.
Oh, nice.
Right? I mean, look. They ain't making can't show you those. They ain't making no more Dave Stevens, ladies and gentlemen.
No, they are not.
Right? There's God, you got to be careful. I can't show you every page. There's so many I can't show you. Okay, there we go. I mean, look, I've always been a fan of Dave Stevens. I've been collecting his stuff for a very, very, very long time. I have most of his comics, but this one was a big one to get. Now, I want to tell you, I got a great deal. My comic shop really sold these to me for a great price. And this one is the best one. This is the Diamond exclusive. Very limited. I forget how many of them there were, but it was very limited edition. This is his art book, Brush with Passion, the Art and Life of Dave Stevens.
Wow.
Okay. Most of them didn't come with the slipcase. That was the Diamond exclusivity, right? This is where he got started, the comics that he read when he was young, his influences. This is so much about Dave. Can I show you this? Okay, these are the Playboy illustrations he did, because that was in a Playboy issue. Here's that Orbit cover right there, and the
Seduction of the Innocent.
Seduction of the Innocent cover. Oh, can't show you that. Talks about Rocketeer, and this is the one I liked about this, because this was about the life of Dave Stevens. It's near the back here. There's the Betty Page. Can show you those. This is why you want this book the most. Okay, this book told me more about his relationship with Betty than any other book I've read. And in this book, they talk about how they actually have a diary that Dave kept that was exclusive to awesome. Thanks, great legend. That is exclusive to exclusively for his interactions with Betty, his time with Betty. Okay. And they chose not to publish it, even though his estate said it was okay. They chose not to publish it because it was really very private stuff. But this told me about the entire relationship between Betty and Dave, how they met each other. The super fast rundown. When Dave sold the Rocketeer to Disney, he felt like he owed Betty a royalty check. Even though Betty had left the public eye, nobody knew how to get hold of her. He felt like he owed her a royalty check for using her likeness as the protagonist's girlfriend. And he tracked down Betty's brother and sent him a check for Betty. Sweet. And this is the kind of guy Dave was. And, they struck up a friendship. And that friendship went on for a couple of years. He passed the money along to his sister. And all of a sudden, he gets a call very shortly after the devastating earthquake of, what was that, 91, 92?
Something like that, yeah.
California?
I was freshman in college.
Yeah, real bad one. The brother calls Dave up and goes, hey, it's real hard to get around California because the highway system's just destroyed. And Betty's brother calls him up and goes, hey, Betty has to go and do a signing. And would you be willing to drive her around for the day and spend the day with her while she does this signing? Yeah, right. Right.
Exactly.
Right. And that's how Dave replied. Dave Dave's been in love with Betty, was in love with Betty Page since he was a teenager. And, all he ever wanted was to meet her. And because of doing the right thing, which, let's be honest, in the comic industry is a fucking rarity, because of doing the right thing. And when he didn't have to, she never would have thought a thing of it. And sending her brother that check, he became basically her Guy Friday. And the last years of Betty's life, Dave and her spent together. So, it's really a great story when you read it. He had brought sketches to show her, and she was like, "Oh, that's nice," but she didn't really know what to make out of any of the comics or anything like that. But for those of you who don't know, Betty, in the 90s, before Betty started, licensing her own likeness, there was a lot of real low-end product out there, porn comics and stuff that were coming out that were not licensed, and they didn't have to license them because she was a public figure, so they could just make comics, cards, trading cards, all kinds of stuff. It was very low-end garbage, and because of Dave sending out that royalty check, she realized there was money to be made on her likeness, and that's when she started licensing it for herself and actually getting some money for it.
Yeah, prior to Dave Stevens doing any kind of work on Betty, she was floating around a bit in cult circles, but it was because of him that Betty started making a comeback with her name again, and I'm glad that she got to live at least those last few years, because I know that she had I hate to say it, schizophrenia because of an event that happened that was horrible in New York City.
Yeah.
And she wound up stabbing her landlord multiple times. But then she had somebody that was actually looking out for her, not just trying to make money off of her.
That's not the least of it. I don't want to share too much because I don't want to be a downer, but she was actually committed for a brief period of time by her ex-husband. Yeah. Because she went to her husband's home. He had custody of the kids, and she held them hostage. The husband and the kids held them hostage, and ended up being committed. And this was many years before she met Dave. So Betty had a real life. Like, if you ever get the chance to read the life of Betty Page, it's a read. It's worth it. One last book I'm going to show, and I don't remember if I showed this yet. This is a bit of a downer, a come down after all the Dave Stevens beauties there. And I might have showed this. I don't think I did. But if I did, I apologize. I got this on the Amazon Prime Day. I haven't opened it yet. It is another slipcase collected edition of the Umbrella Academy.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
Damn.
This was on sale on Prime Day for $23. I was like, I can't buy the couple of issues I'm missing for $23.
Nope. Anymore. At least not until about a few months after the show's finally been ended.
Exactly. But for $23, I figure, you know what? That's a beautiful reader right there. It's a really nice book. And when I'm done with it, maybe I give it to one of my kids. But that's it. That's all the back issue-ish type stuff I have. And over to you there, Mr. Worst.
All right. So should I show some of the other pickups that I did earlier this week at the shop, or go straight into the war books?
What was your favorite? The pickups or the war books?
Actually, the war books.
Then show the war books.
Hell yes.
All right. So here we go. So I'm probably not going to be able to pay attention as much to the chat, so hopefully I don't miss too much. So my friend Bill over on Twitter, he shows a lot of these books. He doesn't like to collect things that he has collected and sold in the past, because then he's just rebuying things. So he got into war, and then it's like, I'm done with it. Hey, do you want it? Yes, sir, I do. Now he's collecting the Disney books, and I'm going to be getting next from him the not exactly Donald Duck, but the Duck books by Carl Barks. So that's going to be next.
Nice.
So let's start with the very beginning in alphabetical order. Here we go. We got All-American Men of War number 67. This is the first appearance of Gunner and Sarge.
That's awesome.
Cool.
I have a nice big run of this now because of Bill. So I'm just showing the best of right now, because otherwise we'll be here all night. And at 10 o'clock, there's the low grades. At, I believe, 10:30, there's going to be the Hunt over on Tony Sanders' channel. Check that out. And next up, we got All-American Men of War. This is number 87, or I think this is, no, it's 89. 89, it's what's known as Lichtenstolen, because you had this son of a bitch back in the 1960s by the name of Roy Lichtenstein.
Yeah.
This guy was a pop artist, but similar to the argument that we're having today with AI, this guy would just take panels of a comic book, recreate it, put it in a gallery, and say, I did it. I had no help, even though he ripped off directly the panels, sometimes even with the wording. This is the first one with the All-American Men of War. The next issue is issue 90. This is also another Lichtenstolen. You can always look these up. Some of these Lichtenstolers were worth more than first appearances of Gunner and Sarge, some of the other Sergeant Rock early books. It was surprising me to discover that. Next up, we have Captain Storm number 1. This is the guy that becomes the leader of a group called the Losers. You'll hear that name coming up soon. So soon, it's the next book I'm showing. This is the second appearance of the Losers. The first appearance is in another book. I don't have that yet, but I will soon enough. So this is issue number 123 of Our Fighting Forces. And this was a really nice higher grade copy. So I'm glad to get that from Bill. Thank you. Next up, we have the third appearance of the Losers in issue 124 of Our Fighting Forces. And the follow-up to that, this one's a little bit more tangential to war. But you may know who Rick Flag is, who first appeared in this book. For those who don't know who Rick Flag is, he's the one that wound up basically saying in the first Suicide Squad movie, Oscar-winning Suicide Squad movie. I can't believe I have to say that. But yeah, it won best costumes or best sound effects. It was a bullshit category, but it's an Oscar-winning movie. So Rick Flag was the guy in the movie that wound up saying, don't get cut by katana. Her blade will trap the soul of the victim. It's like, show, don't tell. But yeah, that's Secret Origins number 14. The next ones we have up are ones that I was really looking forward to getting almost the most. One of them I already have, so this was not from him. I just threw it in there because here we have the first appearance of the Primate Platoon in Weird War Tales. I think this is 87, 89. Why do I interchange 87 and 89? I got to get more sleep. So this is some of the characters or creatures rather that might wind up showing up in, I don't know, the Creature Commandos.
Nice.
This is the one I already had. And I said, no, if you have it, you can keep it and sell it for more money. It's the other ones that I don't have. He's like, you mean like this? The second appearance of the Creature Commandos? Yes, sir. That's exactly what I mean. That one is issue 97. And the final book here I'm going to show, and I'll show the pickups later on. And I guess we'll close out the show if Lady Fantastic doesn't get here a little bit later. But this is the first appearance of G.I. Robot, issue 110. Another higher grade copy. And if you've seen the trailer so far, this is probably going to be the character that winds up being the runaway success from the cartoon. Because cartoon's probably going to be coming out in the next few weeks, if not towards the end of the year. And they will likely be showing up in one of James Gunn's movies. So those are the books that I got for the war stuff. Otherwise, I have 3 large stacks over here that I still have to go through and file away and take pictures of and all that fun stuff. So who wants to show some books next?
I can go again if you like.
Yeah.
I got stacks upon stacks, man. Until you say the show is done, I got books. So
we're going an hour tonight.
Okay.
Hey, Chillmonger.
I recently completed this run and pretty excited about that. So this is Miss Jessica Jones, number 1,
right.
signed by Brian and Michael Gatos. I need to get Mac on the cover for that. There's issue 2. There is the variant to issue 1 done by Miss Stephanie Hans, and variant to issue 3 done by Miss Stephanie Hans. There's the regular issue 3 and issue 4. Just these covers, man. Like David Mack is a guy who he's got a signature style. Sometimes when you see there's a David Mack variant for this or that or the other thing, it gets to be where what's her name? I forget her name. It gets to be a little stale to me sometimes, but the ones he did on Jessica Jones just like sing out is amazing to me. There's a variant issue 3 by somebody else, and issue 4. There's the regular 5 and the regular 6. Jessica Jones variant issue 5. Luke Cage in the maybe Luke Cage in the background, and
Kind of looks like
issue 6.
Impossible.
It does have a little Kim Possible like feel to it, right? Very much
Yeah.
so. And there's their baby, Luke and Jessica, and their baby. And another variant coming up on issue 7.
I have not seen that one.
That's the A cover.
Nice.
Issue 8. And this is one I didn't know existed. I just found it the other day. Issue 8 variant by Michael Cho, I believe. Or is that Michael Cho?
Yeah, and yeah, the Disney rights to Kim Possible, that tracks.
Issue 9 and 10 is variant. Apparently, I don't have the A covered issue 10. That's the one I'm missing. But I'm showing them anyway. You can't stop me. Issue 11 and 12. And I forget which issue it is. One of these issues, the original painting was actually in the Jessica, like of David Max was in the Jessica Jones TV show, which I still think was a great TV show. 13, 14.
Well, that season with the Purple Man was the best.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of the Purple Man, it's the return of the Purple Man. And issue 17 and the concluding issue 18. So nice little run. I just need the A cover for number 10. And there's probably some variants out there that I don't have, but I'm not obsessed the way I am with Miss Marvel, so I can skip a variant or two if I have
to. Those are great. You know, I never really read any Jessica Jones stuff until they did that series. Gail Simone did variants.
Yeah.
That was actually really good.
I didn't love the variants, and I'm a big Gail Simone fan. I think her run on Uncanny right now, we could do a separate show about that, is the best run since Claremont. I'm putting my foot down.
Oh, nice.
4 issues in, and I'm feeling like I'm reading a kid reading Claremont X-Men again. There's a feel about it that she has captured, and it's just wonderful. It's so enjoyable right now.
So Gail's been teasing us on Twitter. Who's leading the X-Men right now?
Oh, in Uncanny, Rogue is like Wolverine's getting the crap beaten out of him. There's 4 new kids, which is why it feels just like old Uncanny stuff from the 80s. Rogue and Gambit are working together. Jubilee's in there. Nightcrawler's adjacent, and that's kind of it. And they're all kind of like beaten up and falling apart, but they're at least geographically near each other right now.
I will get to reading those very soon enough. I've been tagging all of the books that I had. I'm down to the last 6 boxes. Actually, the last 5 boxes, because I'm finishing up Wolverine probably later maybe not later tonight, because I still have to go through all that stuff. Maybe over the weekend, and then by hopefully next week or the week after, every box is done. All the mutants will be done. All of the God damn it, Spawn, 2 long boxes, a box of TMNT, Usagi Yojimbo, and I'm done.
You do that Spawn to yourself, man. You get no sympathy from me. You do that Spawn to yourself.
I did do that to myself.
You did that to yourself. Hey, I got a couple of books I picked up this week from the new stuff. You want to see those?
Yeah, let's see that, because I'm going to close this show in a little while with the new pickups to that music video. So let's see what you got.
All right. Easy enough. So the ongoings. If you are not reading this Dark Knights of Steel all winter book, I might actually be enjoying this more than the original Dark Knights of Steel. Sorry, Tom.
Really?
I might actually be enjoying this one more.
I fell off after like the first 4 issues of the original.
It took a little while. There was a break in the middle. You know, he was honestly, in my opinion, burning the midnight oil, burning the candle at both ends, I should say. Was a bit much, in my opinion. Latest issue of Local Man, that's issue 25.
Oh,
Didn't that
shit.
just automatically just go, hey, by the way, this is the final issue?
I have not read it yet. So did you spoil that for me?
I literally just read issue 1. And I thought, oh, this is a series I might want to get into.
It's been great.
From what I hear, it's like Walking Dead, where you're not expecting it, and it's just a masterpiece.
Yeah, I don't want to bet. Ultimate Spider-Man 10. You know, I don't like Spider-Man, and I love this book. Yes, everybody. Please don't revoke my comic nerd card. But now I don't like.
You can defend yourself. You sweat from a baboon's balls.
Yep, that's fair. That's actually nicer than most people's reactions. Jenny Sparks, that's issue number 3 there. This has been top notch. Really loving it. It's her view of the Justice League is not positive. We'll put it that way. She does not think highly of them. Okay. And now
Jenny Sparks, did that just come out this week?
That came out this week, yeah.
All right, I need to pick that up. I didn't get it.
Came out this week. Now that's issue 3. That's issue 3. So So
now
here's some number ones from this week. Now I'm not going to show you everything because there was a significant number of books this week. I'm just going to show you Where Monsters Lie, Cul-de-sac.
Oh, is that back now?
It's back.
The first series was fantastic.
Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I finished it. I was like, God, I hope they do a second one. Really, really good. Picks up right where that one left off. If you're not reading this one, you're missing out. That is top of the pile book to read. I'm telling you.
First issue had me cracking up of the original series.
Yeah,
absolutely cracking up.
So good, so good. I've been a little bit worried. The last year, I have not been seeing the output from Vault. We've had so many of the Vault team on the show back in the day, and I was getting kind of worried. I hadn't seen a ton from them, and then this week, Godfather of Hell came out. Ooh. That's the Pulp Fiction variant.
Pulp Fiction, there.
Yeah. There's our buddy Tim right there.
He's the man that designed the logo for our show.
He is indeed. He, this was a really good. I read this one. This was good. This was a lot of fun.
Actually, I think I have to chime in here at this point because Tim made a post earlier this week on Twitter because IDW decided to make some jackass move by redesigning their logo to ID or UD, or I don't know what the hell they're trying to convey here, but I don't read IDW. If you don't believe me, go look that up on Google.
That's a shame because there's 2 really great IDW books, and one was this past year, so we never got to talk about it, but it was Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, and they NYCC, they have announced they're going to come out with a second volume to it.
Yes, I just saw that.
That is probably one of the best books. That might be book of the year to me. That book was
for
phenomenal.
That last year, yeah, this past year.
That book was phenomenal. And look, IDW came out with this today, The Exorcism at 1600 pen.
Yeah, I read that last night. I got the I have that book in Ashcan, and I got the Stephanie Hans, which is shit. I'll find it in a minute. I got the Stephanie Hans stuff.
All right.
Yeah, she's the one that wrote The Rogues, where it was that famous superstar that winds up getting her home broken into by a bunch of fanboys.
Yeah. That was a good one. You know what? Listen, I'll say it every time I show one of his books because he is a douchebag, but here's a Mark Millar book. Again, he's a douchebag. But it's Jupiter's Legacy. It's the finale of the Jupiter's Legacy story. I read all the other Jupiter's Legacy. I'm going to finish it.
That's how with Nemesis.
Right. And then the last new book I'm going to show you here. This is the last one I'm going to show. This is Batman Full Moon, and I had to get the glow in the dark. All these beautiful white glows in the dark.
Okay, question. Did that, when you first get it, have like a white sort of stapled on sheet to it?
It did not. And normally they do when it's the new glow in the dark ones. They normally have a sheet of paper over it. This one did not. Now, the LCS might have pulled it.
What?
My LCS might have pulled it. But
mine put it on the shelf with it.
Now, listen, I'm going to tell you, the interiors, for a Batman book, these are not what you'd normally expect, but I think it fits the book.
Yeah, this is Rodney Barnes, the guy that does Philadelphia. So we're going for a different feel here.
Right. Look, I read this, and I don't read a lot of Batman because I think Batman is just overdone. There's too much Batman. I've read all the great Batman stories. That was wrong. I was wrong. There's more good Batman stories. I know that, but this is one of them. If you like Batman at all, or if you like werewolves at all, this is a book to pick up.
The only reason why I didn't pick it up or even order it was because I was going, this is just another damn Batman title, until I saw that it was Rodney Barnes. Now I feel like an idiot for not getting it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to get it myself. I did not pre-order this. I saw the glow in the dark. I picked it up. I flipped through it. I was like, yeah, I want this. So it came home with me, and I'm glad. I'm going to pick up the rest of it. And that's it, man.
All right. So, Tacoma, do you want to show any more, or should we kind of close it up soon? All right. Or otherwise, I can show just the couple right here that are going to be enclosed with the music video that I show. So go right ahead, and I'll close out the show.
So I literally couldn't read this because my eyesight's so bad. So I got this Ashcan like a week or two ago, but I had to wait to get the Hans. I liked it enough that I ordered issue 2 just this afternoon. But this is not one of my favorite Stephanie Hans covers, except she does what she always does, and she hides things that you don't see when you first look at a thing, right? You're drawn to this. The light, the angle of the flags draws you right to that, and you don't even realize what else is going on. And she really excels at doing that in her artwork. So I kind of dig that. I'm not going to bother trying to open to a page that I can show you of this. If you've never read this,
you can't. You literally can't. It's fantastic, but no, you can't.
Fantastically written. It's, I couldn't write a BDSM love story that didn't just sound cheesy. Like, that's so hard to do, to get beyond like what between anybody other than the two people involved, it just looks silly and sounds silly and doesn't make sense. That makes it make sense and has a great story connected to it as well. Highly recommended. Sunstone. I won't even bother trying to pronounce the author's name. Steven. It's, yeah, I won't bother. I didn't get that originally. Then I got it because it looked really damn cool. I got that because it was $2 at a store.
Yep, worth it.
First Sam Wilson doing something, I don't know, flying a plane. Got that because it was $2. I got this one 96 out of 100 with Dynamic Forces COA, signed Walking Dead. So I got that for $2. I was pretty happy. Found this one again at half price. Just another 2016 newsstand. Nothing to see here. Right, the only place, for those viewers who aren't sure, the only place these were existing was in Barnes & Noble at this time. Otherwise, they weren't newsstand issues. Rob,
there were like 800 or less printed.
Yeah. I don't know if you need either of these.
Oh, I would have to look that up.
Well, I sent you a message on Instagram.
I don't read my Instagram messages. You have my phone number. Text me.
Fine. You are correct. I do. I'll pick up.
I'll just put it this way. I have 50 messages at least on Instagram. I haven't read a single one. I am terrified to open up that app.
You got it. So if you've ever been following me, you know that from time to time, I buy X-Men below 94, and then I sell them and say, I'm never going to get 1 to 93. Why bother? What's up, Vaughn? So I sell them, then I find a good deal on a comic, and I buy them again. And that is exactly what happened here. I went down to a store. The guy, it's like a vintage horror film store, but the guy's got some comics. I ask him to put X-Men out all the time, and he's a nice older gentleman. He takes his time. He's like, well, that's my brother's collection. We're selling it together. but he's not in a rush to put out more X-Men. So there's old Avengers and Daredevil and stuff, and I'm just waiting for the X-Men to grab at good prices. So I got a couple nice X-Men from him. That was pretty cool. And then the last thing of the day, anybody here order from Things from Another World?
I've done it.
I'm really mad at them.
What happened?
4 or 5 years ago, they listed something as Venom 200 Stephanie Hahn's variant. Well, it wasn't, or she never finished her variant, or her variant never got produced, or who knows. So they sent me this horrible, like, muscular Venom issue. I just wasn't interested. And so I tried to send it back, and they're like, well, we can't send it back. You ordered it. Like, we can't guarantee who the artist is going to be. This was the Venom 200 variant D, and it turned out to be, I went back and forth with them, and like, just the fact that they wouldn't refund the money for a comic that I ordered thinking was different artists, because it said it was different artists. So I deleted my account. I sent them an email saying, please take my information out of your system. I'm done. I must have ordered this about 4 or 5 years ago from them. It just appeared the other day. I don't know how or why, but this is probably my favorite current new series.
With the record.
Yeah, so this is the second printing of #1. They're doing a record with each. I might actually buy a new a new record player. So they're just putting a little 7-inch with each of them. Now that I have the first one, I'm probably going to go track down all the rest, because you guys know how it is when you're onto something. So very, very cool. Matt Rosenberg, Tyler Boss. The follows a bunch of kid families in the kind of post-apocalyptic world, but each family has a thing, and the family that we're first following, and mainly following, even though there's lots of cool side stories, they have records, and everybody has a record as like their totem god. So producing these 7 inches to go along with the actual books is pretty amazing. Great series if you want to read something. And that's it for comics. I'll just show off Cole Palmer because he's awesome. And Lamine Yamal. I picked up about 10 Lamine rookie cards the other day, and we could just dance these on my way out.
That what's the furthest place from here? I've been picking it up since it came out as well, and I actually have all the records up until like issue, I think 7 just came out. Yeah, and it's sitting in the. I'll show them next. I'll show them next show.
Nice.
I don't think they did it the first album, but everything after that, they included a slip with a download code, so you can download all of the music too.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So from like issue 2 on, you were able to download it.
Oh, that's sweet.
But yeah, I think issue 7 just showed up, and like we're on issue 20 of the book, and it had like a year break. So they're pretty far behind on the production. I genuinely thought they just gave up on it.
I think he's been writing 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank script, and that's put
for the real movie.
Yeah.
The thing that actually pays money.
Well, well, he was very clear about this when it came out. He was like, I thought it'd be cool, and we would sell a couple of them, and we sold so many the first day that pre-orders were available that we had to up our order from at the record place, and then the pandemic hit, and all of a sudden we have shortages, and the material you needed for make records was a shortage, and his orders were nothing compared to what musicians' orders were.
Right.
Well, he kept getting pushed to the back burner by the manufacturer. For something that was pretty cool. He ended up getting a lot of heat for it, which sucks, but I'm really glad that he went through and he kept making them until he got them all done. That's awesome.
I found this in a bag that came with a free comic book day. Stranger Things, like a later issue. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And somebody must have been doing a promotion. So I haven't even opened this yet, but there's the Christmas lights.
Oh, that's great.
Little lanyard. So I'm like, dude,
that's
$3. Cool. I'll definitely buy that. Comic is beat up and it's an FCDB. So I threw it away, but I got these pretty high.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Should I show the last few here and close out?
There we go.
All right, here we go. Last few books, and these are even going to be seen in the end of the video that I show. So I needed an upgrade because way back in 2021, when this book was really hot, I paid $30 for it, and it was a 4.5. It was a VG plus. Well, I got this earlier this week for the same amount of money, and it's a nice VF copy.
Oh, sweet.
Spider-Woman #1.
Nice.
Man, 3 hours sleep. I've been saying instead of Hellraiser, Hellblazer. I forget the word for pen. Yeah, actually get real sleep if you're over the age of 40.
Skinny marker.
After that, we got Spider-Woman #50, the final issue. Because it's final issue Friday and first issue Friday. Next up, here's the final issue of Catwoman. Not exactly the final issue because they released one more for Blackest Night, issue 95. Next up, we have a lower print towards the end of the run of Lobo with Super Lobo.
Yeah.
These aren't like big books or anything, but I'm kind of picking up a run. This is the 1980s version of Supergirl #2.
That's great.
Followed by Supergirl #13. She gets a costume change in this one.
Yep. That's great.
And I'm not exactly picking it up, but when I saw that this is one of the square bound editions, I mean, I even put it at a 7. It might be a little less, maybe about 7 exact. I don't know, because holy crap, the spine is actually pretty nice. Usually they're crushed or ripped at the top or bottom. But for black cover, square bound, this is the only problem right there.
100 pages. That's nice. Great, man. That's nice.
It's that time of year, and if you're posting stuff online, and I mean, I'm going to put it this way. Because of what Elon has been doing with Twitter, I want to abandon that platform like you can't believe. But being a comic collector of this much volume here, I feel I have to give back, and not in the traditional sense of, raising money here and there. No, I need to publicize these books to make other people excited, because if nobody else is collecting out there, all of our stuff eventually will be worthless. Great, you might have paid $100 for something, but if no one's reading comics anymore, or people aren't spending money on it because, hey, well, no one's posting that. Wait, they still publish these? Yeah, that's why I need to reach out, let people know that this stuff is awesome. And then maybe they'll go and do it too once I'm dead. Speaking about dead, here's Marionette from 1993. This is actually signed 153 out of 300 by DCR. I was tangentially aware of this. I still haven't read it yet, but it's interesting. Safe to say you'll never call it X. I won't even call Elon by his proper name because he's a mushmouth moron.
Truth.
Rob, I left Facebook a long time ago. I left Twitter when Elon took over. I don't regret for a second leaving Facebook. I do miss Twitter, not the Elon part of it, but it was such a good website for what I was doing. I lost a lot of followers. You don't need to put me on. I lost a lot of followers. I had 2 accounts. On my teacher account, I reached more people with teacher content, robotics in the classroom content than I do on YouTube or Instagram.
And now they're starting to talk about, if you wind up posting anything that is copyrighted by yourself, if you post it on their website, you give them free reign and access to use it for their AI creation content, which is just made the Weather Service want to abandon, different artists abandon, and with the platform deciding to take away the block feature, earlier this week you had 500,000 people join Blue Sky. But if you write out the full name of Blue Sky on Twitter, you get shadow banned, and I'm already shadow banned, so fuck Elon Musk. All right, here's the last one I'm going to show, and then I'm going to close out the show because we're almost at the 60-minute mark. This is the first appearance of Nightbreed from Clive Barker from the 1990s. This is great stuff. I didn't realize that this series went on for a very long time, almost like 30 issues.
Yep.
But
way longer than it should have.
Very. But now I'm going to have to go dig up that final issue. I thought it was only 8 issues, and the hell with issue 8. Wait, issue 26 or 20? I'm going to have to get that. It's probably worth more than the first. But that has basically been the show tonight. I hope Lady Fantastic is getting a nice, good rest. I know she has a long week. And next week, we're going to try doing some Halloween themes. So if we have horror books, some vampires, some werewolves, some werewolf by night, let's bring that stuff. So I want to thank everybody that has joined the show tonight. Tacoma, are you going to be making any appearances on anybody else's show?
Nope. This is you are my show now. This is my go-to. Starting to get back into the swing of things, but just dipping my toe. But I'll actually be at a Destroy Boys concert next Friday. It's my son's first concert. He's got a lot of anxiety, so he's a senior, and this is the first show. But he likes Destroy Boys, and I get to be like I'm into a young punk band, so I feel cool, and yeah, it should be good.
Nice. Well, you'll have fun with that. Miracleman, do you have anything that you want to close the show out with a message to our peoples?
No, you know what? Don't be a dick.
It's rule number 2. That's what we have around here. It's why we open up our show that features that. Otherwise, in a couple of weeks, I'll be on Dylan's horror channel over on YouTube. So I guess I will be promoting that next week. But next week, we're going to be focusing on Halloween and horror. So look out for that. We will be back for our regular time. I think that's 9 p.m. Eastern now. So until next time, we're going to close out the show with new Comic Book Day music by Andy Judge, Heaven Voices. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. This is your Tune of the Week. Good night, everybody.
Night.
All right, where do we have it here? I got to put these things in easier places to find. There we go. That's our show, everybody. Good night.